everyone, and welcome to the Shift Happens podcast. Here, each week, we sit down with senior leaders from across industries to uncover the real stories behind managing change. From breakthrough wins to tough lessons learned, we dive deep into what it really takes to lead through uncertainty. So, whether you are a leader going through transformation or just love a good story about disruption, strategy, and resilience, you are in the right place. Because when shift happens, great leaders rise. Before we dive into the show, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Are you a leader navigating constant change and your team is looking to you for answers you don't have yet? The Change Leader program is here to help. At Tona Business, we work with leaders to turn chaos into clarity, retain your best people, and lead through disruption without losing trust, momentum, or your own sanity. So if you're facing restructuring, AI shifts, disengagement, or just need your team to rally back on you, we can help you. Reach out or head over to tonabusiness.com to find out more. So today we are interviewing Adolfo Carreño, business transformation and enterprise change leader with over 15 years of experience leading large-scale complex transformation initiatives in global financial services and medical technology corporations. Originally from Chile and based in the US since 2018, Adolfo holds multiple master's degrees in business administration, project management, and innovation. He is currently pursuing doctoral studies in business administration and serves as VP of Transformation Program Management at Citibank, while actively contributing to research, publishing, and thought leadership in the field of strategic change. Wow, what a resume. Welcome, Adolfo.
Thank you.
Bienvenido, Adolfo, to
Thank
Shift
you.
Happens podcast.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
So Adolfo, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey, your experience, and your current role.
Well, that's a very wide question. But basically, well, I started in project and program management a little over 15 years ago after graduating. And well, I started in technology as a product in the product field in the stock exchange in Santiago, then moved to a big insurance company, a global insurance company operating in Chile at the time, leading transformation with a strong technology and continuous improvement and efficiency focus. And then I moved to the medical devices industry, leading larger and enterprise-wide transformations with this change component for like 7 years, and then came back to the financial industry, leading larger transformations now in this opportunity within the risk and compliance space at Citibank. So it's not been too long of a journey, but I have developed different aspects from the seed of project management, incorporating change management and transformational leadership on the road, basically.
Well, I can tell based on your multiple master degrees, they are somehow related to leading change, even though in different industries. And I don't know if you agree with me, Adolfo, but overall, tools and approaches, they can be used similar in your experience. And of course, depending on the industry, we adapt. But overall, once you learn how to lead change effectively and you learn the tools and you have your toolbox, you really know what you need and what time, right? Depending on the situation.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
So let me ask you this. Can you share any impactful change experience that you had in your career? How did that go and what did you learn?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one really shaped my whole perspective on what change leadership should look like. Early in my career, I was assigned as a project manager for a regional shared service implementation at this global medical devices company. And on paper, the strategy was very straightforward. It was
Mm-hmm.
about consolidating back office and support functions from
Mm-hmm.
several countries in the LATAM region into one single regional center. That's a classic shared services
Mm-hmm.
implementation. But the reality on the ground for me was anything but simple. Very quickly, long story short, I found myself not just managing a project, but navigating the emotional and the human fallout of an entire reorganization.
Mm-hmm.
Teams across different countries were being told, often with very little context, that their roles would be eliminated. And yet, I still had to ask them for to document their processes, help me
Mm.
writing manuals, and train those individuals who would essentially replacing them. So it was a
Yes.
very difficult situation. And that was the moment I realized this wasn't a project management problem. It was a people problem.
Mm-hmm.
The methodology I had been given was technically solid, but it completely overlooked the human side of change. There were no tools, no space, no leadership assignment assigned to help me around how to address the cultural impacts. And
Uh-huh.
frankly, I had no playbook for how to ask to someone to cooperate in dismantling their own job, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So what helped me shifting was something very personal. And I stopped thinking like a project manager and started acting like a change leader. I
Mm-hmm.
spent time listening, really listening to
Mm-hmm.
their concerns, and I tried to create an environment of dignity where people felt seen and respected, even in the middle of a very difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
I brought transparency, empathy, and tried to make sure to carry their voices into leadership conversations. And it wasn't easy. It pushed me way beyond my comfort zone as a project manager, but it also ignited something in me, a very deep interest in organizational change,
Mm-hmm.
transformation leadership, and the human side, or this psychology, if you will, of how people experience change and transitions. And from that point on, change management wasn't just a supporting function. It became the core of how I lead transformation programs. It's what led me to formal training, deeper research, and ultimately to integrating change strategy as a foundational pillar in every large transformation initiative I lead today.
That's nice. And that makes me think also as I go back in the experiences and the first experience I had as a change leader, which I didn't call myself the same, I call myself project manager
Yeah,
because I think we have a tendency to stick into the milestones to make
correct.
sure everything goes well, which is extremely important, no question about that. But how do you implement successfully if you don't really look at the people, listen to them, if you're not transparent to them, if you don't build trust, really leadership skills that you're saying that you developed along the way, and then now is with you to in any change initiative that you go through, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you mentioned transparency. Just taking that, would you give any advice when you say transparency around the communication piece? Because sometimes people also struggle. What can I share? What I cannot share? I want to be transparent. I want to be authentic, but there are so many so much sensitivity along the
Yeah.
way. Like maybe people are going to lose jobs and all. How did you manage that?
Well, transparency is absolutely critical, and not just as a best practice from a moral
Mm,
and ethical standpoint, but also as a foundation for trust in the
mhm,
context of handling large change. And during times of transformation or change, uncertainty is everywhere, and people naturally fill in the blanks with their own interpretations, their assumptions, and sometimes their fears. And if leadership isn't being clear and transparent, those blanks can quickly turn into rumors, resistance, and overall disengagement. I have seen this play out many times. And when communication is vague or overly polished, people don't feel informed.
Gotcha.
They tend to feel managed, and that creates distance, not alignment, which is what we are supposed to build with our teams. Transparency for me doesn't mean oversharing every detail, on the other hand. I think it means being honest about what is known, what is unknown, what is changing, and more importantly, why. And that's the key for me. Even when the message is hard, people appreciate clarity. They would rather hear messages like "we're still figuring this part out," rather than silence or corporate jargon. You know. Also, transparency is a two-way street. It's not just about broadcasting updates. It's about creating space for real dialogue. Listening is part of communicating transparently, and when people feel like they can ask questions and raise their concerns and be heard, ultimately they're much more likely to stay engaged throughout the ups and downs of change. So to your question, yes, transparent communication isn't just important during change, is essential. It creates the conditions for trust, commitment, and collaboration. Without it, even the best designed change initiative will struggle to land.
Yes, absolutely. So basically, the why that is so important, right? What's changing, what's known, what's not known. And you mentioned the formality. I think that's very interesting to people to not feel managed, but maybe some sort of communication that touches people's heart goes to an extra level. Not just, oh, this is the toolkit, or this is what's changing people, and that's it, in a very formal way. So the channels that would you use like group meetings, one-on-ones? Would you have any advice about that for people to feel more embraced in this change?
Well, after some years of experience, I would just say whatever works. And here the key is being sensitive to our change environment and the tools and the structure and the culture in our organization. So it would not be the same in a very formal, old-fashioned Fortune 500 centennial company, then it would be in a very bold and agile uh, uh, startup in Silicon Valley. It will not work the same in every context. So the key for change leaders and transformation leaders is being sensitive and adapting and tailoring their strategies and tools and techniques to their actual context, and not applying recipes as if they were the way to do something, including transparency and communication delivery.
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. And you, Adolfo, have a lot of experience in big companies. I mean, Citibank is one example, but to put into a context, I wonder and you mentioned Latam at some point, right? And of course, you're very familiar with the culture. You're from Chile, South American culture. But I wonder the extra layers of challenge that we all as leaders have when you manage global changes where it also involves different languages, different cultures, and how people will embrace and will buy in that change initiative that is going on.
Yes. Yes, correct. That is just one of the typical challenges you have to consider when handling this large transformation and then changes in large companies. And of course, it's something that can shape and determine the success or not of your transformation journey, considering that the ultimate goal or the purpose of transformation it's not just meeting the transformation project goals. It's the actual realization of the strategy that's behind that transformation initiative. So considering that, of course, the challenges associated with the size, the dimension, the complexity, and the structure of the company is a critical factor to consider.
Absolutely. Yes. And thinking about resistance, a common question that we hear, and I hear from clients as well, is like, okay, but how do I manage resistant people? Would you have any tip, any advice to the audience?
Yeah, great question. First, I'd say I don't think that resistance is a problem per se. It's not an issue you should target to eliminate. My advice is, first of all, think of it as a signal. Resistance is usually telling you something valuable. People are unsure, they don't feel safe, or they don't see the connection between the change and their personal reality at work. One of the biggest mistakes change leaders make is treating resistance as a roadblock instead of a relationship issue. I think that you can't manage resistance with a slide deck or a timeline or a made up discourse with your team. You manage it through trust, transparency, as we just discussed, and empathy, finally. And if I had to summarize my advice in order to handling resistance, I'd say first, listen early and often. Don't wait for resistance to show up in the form of disengagement or sabotage. Go out and surface it. Ask questions, invite concerns. People will resist less when they feel heard from the beginning in the early stages of transformation. Then I would say don't over rely on logic. Change is not a mathematics problem. Is
I love what you're saying.
right? It is not an emotional. It's an emotional journey. You can explain the ROI of this new system, this new technology all day long, but if people feel that their identity, their role, or their security is threatened, logic won't move them. So acknowledge those emotions and speak to what they care about. Then, in the third place, I'd say build actual real meaning, not just momentum in throughout the transformation life cycle. When people understand why change matters, not just for the business, but for them eventually, they are more likely to step into it and helping them to connect those dots between their work And the bigger picture, of course, helps engaging people.
Mhm.
Also bring champions into the mix. So partner with your people. Don't do it alone. Identify now in these times influencers inside the organization, people you can trust, and then not just identifying them, but also equipping them. Let them to be the voice of change in their teams. Peer influence is often more powerful than top-down messaging. And
Mhm.
finally, and from a more personal standpoint, be human. Uh, Change is hard for everyone,
Mhm.
and people don't resist change as much as they resist being changed. So if you can lead with empathy, humility, and clarity and transparency, even the toughest transitions become more manageable. So that's my humble advice.
I am so impressed how much alike we think, Adolfo, as well. It's interesting
Yeah.
that you mentioned the why, and I normally tend to share that. To me, there are two key whys that we need to respond. One is why we are changing as a corporation, and the second why is why do I, as individual, need to change here? And then
Hmm.
once you respond these two whys, because it's the why the broader and the why individual, that's when people understand there is alignment on the reasons and then you move forward. I mean, you said that, and I love the champions concept. In fact, I heard a story from a friend who was, leading change, and there was an area specifically, it was manufacturing environment, and there was a person that was kind of the leader of the group, that was the person that was extremely resistant to that change. So what they did, they like work very close to this leader, this internal leader. Uh, I was leader without authority, leader
Yeah.
influencing peers, literally, right? They work with him, and to understand the whys. He got so thrilled by the change that he influenced everybody else. So basically, they turned the resistor to, an advocate, and then they changed totally the success. I mean, the path of that change in that moment. And if I can take another thing that you said that I love, and I think I'm going to use in a banner, knowledge, one move, people. Exactly. It's the people are touched by their hearts, right? I mean, it's the empathy and the human side that you said. That's so important. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like what you say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So then if you think about, and I don't know if you had a chance to experience a change initiative that didn't go very well, or didn't go well at all, or had many opportunities for improvement, would you share anything about any initiative that you're part of or you're leading that didn't work well and why?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, absolutely. And well, yeah, that's a great question, because I think that it opens up a deeper conversation, maybe not for
Uh-huh.
this opportunity, but about what we really mean by transformation in the first place. I
Yes,
think
let's
that a
see.
common trap I've seen, at least, and experienced myself, is when organizations treat transformation as just a larger, more complex version of a project or a program.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it gets scoped, planned, and governed within a clear life cycle. So, therefore, success is defined by things like on time delivery, budget adherence, and achievement of predefined goal statements. But
Mhm.
here's the thing: transformation is not about ticking boxes. It's about change that moves the organization meaningfully closer to
Mhm.
its long term strategic goals. If
Absolutely.
all you do is improving processes or upgrading systems, but the fundamental trajectory of the business stays the same, was that really a transformation? And I don't think it is. And one experience that resonated with me was during my time at this large insurance company,
Mhm.
where they launched a massive multi-year and multi-million investment in a transformation program.
Mhm.
Millions of dollars invested, cross-functional teams mobilized, all focusing at making the organization more efficient and more
Mhm.
sustainable in the long run. And to be fair, execution went pretty well since I led it, but uh, there were there were clear wins in automation, better workflows, overall leaner operation.
Mhm.
Technologically, we were flying. The team celebrating the program's completion as a major success, and by
Yes.
traditional project management metrics, it was a big success. But
Mhm.
here's where it went wrong, in my view. While everything looked better, the deeper indicators of strategic health barely moved. The business remained vulnerable to the same systemic pressures it faced before transformation.
Mhm.
Leadership had hoped that this program would future proof the company, but because the focus stayed on internal efficiency and missed the broader vision, including customer
I
behavior
see.
shifts,
Mhm.
market positioning, new business models, the transformation didn't really transform anything in the end. So yes, the objective was met, but the transformation opportunity was missed. And that experience taught me a lot about strategic alignment and how essential it is to connect every initiative, every decision to the long game.
Broader goal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
precisely.
Mhm.
Delivery alone is not success.
Mhm.
And I think that real transformation challenges assumptions and redefines direction, and build capabilities that actually can shape the future within organizations.
Mhm. It all starts with vision and the strategy in the end of the day, and then you
Exactly.
start building from that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And building
Yes.
things that really align to those long-term goals.
Yes, exactly. Not changing just for the sake of change or because the competitor adopted the tool we think is cool to adopt. There's nothing to do with that. But
Uh,
really, is
exactly.
it going to really be strategic long term? And we are going to achieve the right goals for this company, right?
Exactly. Or at least does it get us closer to our long-term vision?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 I love it. So shifting gears a little bit,
Yeah.
Adolfo, considering your vision to the industry you are right now, or overall vision, um, in the next 5 years, what is it going to take for you to get there to be successful?
Well, within the banking sector and more broadly in the financial services industry, I
Mm-hmm.
think that right now and in many other industries as well, we're at a pivotal moment. The next wave of transformation in financial services will definitely be shaped by three or maybe four powerful forces.
Mm-hmm.
Artificial intelligence, of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's shaping everything everywhere. Associated to that, advanced automation as well. Then strategic collaboration, and finally, entrepreneurial innovation. And
Okay.
at the center of all this, I think that there's going to be a growing need for strong change leadership. Regarding AI, for example, it's not just about replacing people. You know about that. It's
Mm-hmm.
about augmenting decision making capabilities within organizations,
Mm-hmm.
uncovering insights and rethinking how work gets done. But integrating AI into the backbone, the fabric of an organization requires more than technology. It demands trust, alignment, and an overall cultural shift. And that's where change management becomes critical. And
Mm-hmm.
then automation also associated with AI. We have been automating for years, not just in the banking industry, everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
what's coming next, it's deeper, powered by AI and more integrated end-to-end type of intelligent automation that will redefine value streams in the industry. And
Mm-hmm.
again, without a human-centered approach to change and adoption, even the most powerful automation will fail to deliver sustainable value. Then smart alliances, what I like to call strategic transformation. This is going to be another game changer. Not single organization can innovate fast enough in this environment on its own. And
Mm-hmm.
the companies that thrive will be those that build adapted partnership across ecosystems,
Mm-hmm.
including in this case fintechs, specific platforms like payment gateways, all that, and
Mm-hmm.
even competitors. Why not partnering with other financial institutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps most importantly, I believe that the mindset of entrepreneurship will need to move from the edge of organizations to the center. Leaders
Mm-hmm.
will have to think more like founders, if you will, agile, resourceful, willing to challenge the status quo. Overall, innovation will be less about moonshots or the great idea, and more about everyday problem solving at scale.
Mm-hmm.
So to your question, what it's going to take for me, it's going to take bold leadership, deep investment in people, and a commitment to managing change not as a side function but as a strategic capability within organizations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I think we will move from transformation projects, as I was saying before, to true transformation cultures.
Is a shift on how you manage projects, basically. Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Just it's a different take, a different approach. Yes, that's yeah, I love it. And I agree with you. I really like the pillars you mentioned and the fact that it takes strong change leaders
Absolutely.
to manage and to lead. Very
Yeah,
nice, Adolfo.
thank you.
So to wrap up, um, if you could summarize your journey in a few words, what would that be?
Oh,
A successful
it,
journey.
well, yeah, I hope.
Mhm.
Well, if I had to sum it up, I'd say uh, keys are curiosity, resilience, purpose, and more specifically, the ability to recognize and respond to what's really needed from me. Curiosity has kept me learning about people, about systems, about how change really works beneath the surface.
Mhm.
Resilience helped me push through uncertainty and discomfort, especially when the path wasn't clear. And purpose has been my anchor, It's what's guided my biggest decisions, both personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just want to deliver outcomes. I want to help building things that actually matter. And along the way, I have also learned to be highly sensitive to identifying needs, sometimes the ones no one is saying out loud, and to act consistently to close those gaps,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a strategic blind spot, maybe a missing conversation, or a leadership gap. I see real transformation happening when those needs are met with intention, not just simple and plain execution. And success for me has never been about ticking off goals, as I said before. It's about showing up with awareness, working toward excellence, and being deliberately intentional about the impact I want to leave behind. And that's where I find meaning. And that's what shaped my journey in the end.
Yes, the purpose. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love what you said. Purpose has been your anchor.
Yeah.
It just drives you, and because I think in the end of the day, as human beings, we want to create an impact and a positive impact, right? Everywhere you pass, and as a leader and a big leader in a high position organization as you are, you just want people to uh, get somehow the impact on working with you as a leader, learn with you as a change leader. And I love the fact that you use the change leader and not project manager here, because it's really, it embraces everything, the project side and the human side, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes,
That's my
that's
philosophy.
very nice, and a
Yeah.
very nice way to wrap up today. Thank you so much, Adolfo, for being here. I really do appreciate your time. I'm pretty sure the audience will enjoy as much as I did. A lot of learnings, and I took a lot of notes. And yes, and I see you in the next time. Maybe in Spanish next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need
If
to
you,
practice a little bit, but yeah,
okay. No
yes.
worries. Or in Portuguese. No.
Or in
Yeah.
Portuguese. Okay,
Who
there you
knows?
go. I
Yeah.
love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
so much.
having
See
me.
you next time and have a wonderful day.
All right. You too.